வணக்கம்.
சாரி சார், வணக்கம். நான் மியூட் போட்டு பேசிட்டு இருந்திருக்கேன்.
ஓகே ஓகே.
வணக்கம் சார்.
வணக்கம் வணக்கம். When I'm presenting, I'll be able to upload my sheet. Yeah, you're giving that.
Yes sir, yes sir. Share option கொடுத்து பண்ணுங்க.
Okay. Bro.
Good evening, sir. Chandrasekharan, sir. Good evening.
Good evening sir.
Good evening. How are you?
Fine, sir.
Yes sir, fine sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening sir.
Good evening.
Sir, shall we start, sir?
Yes, madam. Professor Ratnam is there.
Hi, yes, sir.
So shall we start, sir?
Hi, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Lalita?
Yes,
You can
ma'am. I'll start now. Start afresh, see the bright opportunity, and do something new in each day. A very warm welcome to one and all present here. We've all gathered here for the placement conclave on career prospects in core engineering. We will be enlightened by eminent industry professionals on the opportunities. Amidst this pandemic and all the uncertainty it gives rise to, SRM management has been encouraging young minds by equipping them with finest and the latest technology awareness. Encouragement, enthusiasm, and excellency are one of the major aspects of an organization. We deem it an honor to be part of this prestigious institution.
Good system shortens the road to the goal, and any good system needs a good mentor. On this note, I request Dr. R. Rajaraman, Professor and Head, Department of Mechanical Engineering, to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening to all. I cordially welcome you all for this placement conclave organized by SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Vadapalani campus. Many students are having more doubts on placements due to the current pandemic scenario. This conclave is organized to give clear insight and clarity to all our young minds and create an understanding of the current skill set requirements of the companies. Today, we have two stalwarts from the core industries. At this juncture, I give a warm and hearty welcome to both of them. We have with us Mr. Chandrasekharan Vasudevan, Director, 5G Core Network Application and Cloud Infrastructure Digital Services at Ericsson to emphasize the career prospects in electronics and communication engineering. We also have with us Mr. M. Govindarajan, Chief Operating Officer and Plant Head IP Rings, Chennai, to discuss career insights and prospects in mechanical engineering. We welcome both senior industry persons to this conclave once again. The strength of SRM is our alumni community who regularly come back to their alma mater and provide valuable inputs to the students. Likewise, we have our two eminent alumni today, Mr. A. Praveen Kumar, Deputy Manager, Research and Development, TVS Motor Company, Chennai, 2009 to 13 batch, BTech Mechanical Engineering, and Mr. Ravi Kiran Lakshmanan, Senior Associate Lead, HR Compliance, Infosys, Bangalore, the same batch 2009 to 13, BTech Electronics and Communication Engineering. SRM Vadapalani has a long way of travel from its inception year 2009. We today have completed more than a decade of establishment, creating innovative engineers and entrepreneurs who have taken our brand to the next level. SRM proudly welcomes our first batch of students alumni today for this conclave. My hearty welcome to our beloved Dean ENT, Dr. K. Duraivellu sir, who has been inspiring us in this long run. I also welcome Dr. A. Rathinam, Director, Alumni Affairs, SRM IST for this conclave. I welcome Dr. C. Gomadi Madam, VP Academic and Placements, Dr. Kesavan sir, VP Research, and Dr. Karthikeyan sir, VP Examination for this event. I take immense pleasure in welcoming all the HODs and faculty members who were supportive in organizing this conclave. Last but not the least, I welcome all the student participants who are waiting all
Sir has been muted, sir. I think sir has finished.
Yes, I have finished.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can delegate authority, but you cannot delegate responsibility. On this note, I now request Dr. A. Ratnam, Director Alumni Affairs, and our constant pillar of support, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you. A very good evening to all present here. At the outset, I would like to welcome our corporate leaders, Mr. Chandrasekhan Vasudevan and Govindarajan sir, for having accepted our invitation and to join on this Friday evening to enlighten our students. And also I welcome our alumni speakers, both the speakers, Dean CET Vadapalani campus, vice principals, head of the departments, professors, students, and participants. So I just have two roles to play here. One on setting the context about the conclave and to give some glimpses of the alumni activities of SRMAST. So regarding this conclave, this has been a practice in all our SRMAST campuses. As we all know that the academics, placements, international relations are all common, and across all campuses, it is going to be the same. So with that note, we have been conducting many alumni talks, placement trainings, placement conclaves of this nature in offline mode also. And in the pandemic situation like this, we converted that to the online mode. So in this academic year, for the present final year batch, we have been conducting n number of trainings, be it competitive professional skills, which has been done very exclusively on the programming skills for on par with the company's requirements on the placement drives, and the verbal and verbal reasoning and quantitative analysis from our own CDC faculty, which is also going on now. Apart from this, our own software department is giving many trainings for the students on the programming skills. So with the outset, apart from the regular academics, we wish to focus much on the upskilling the students to match up with the employability skills to be industry ready. And having done all these things, we have observed that the core engineering also has to be given sufficient knowledge to the students so that those who are aspiring for will be able to know what sort of preparation they can do with respect to the resume, which is very well tuned for the core engineering, the type of online courses they can have, the type of many projects and other smaller internships, what they can do even in online to focus on the core engineering. To enlighten that, apart from our own placement team and the faculty advisors, we wanted to have the champions and phenomenal speakers like our speakers of the day to enlighten our students. So we have created a forum of such is that placement conclave, wherein we wanted to have our own alumni who has been there in such a corporate leaders so that they can be very specific with respect to SRM campus in terms of the environment which is there and what is the academics background, how the placement process which are happening. So the alumni are the right members to infuse the student language communication to the students so that they can absorb more and then take it forward. So with this, I have two important points with respect to that for the third year and final year students from the core engineering year. One is the responsibility for our own students to get or to kickstart their first job on this online mode is very different from the offline mode, whereas the challenges in the online recruitment process, be it video interview or etc., creating video profile are going to be very challenging. And the more accountability is there with respect to the students having given all sort of trainings. And being there in a institution like SRM where we had 7,111 offers last year and 4,326 unique offers for the entire campus. And that is the process which has been set for the placement for the past 2 decades from our institutions. So you have been blessed to be there in that particular institution. So you have to kickstart your career in the much pleasant way. So don't miss out the opportunity. Be accountable and you have to do the self-analysis of what is not there with you, what is the most positive with you, and work on the things which are required, and do the consistent efforts, and having the winning attitude will definitely fetch you the right placements. And I borrow the statement which is being usually said by our director career center. Our students are always aiming for dream offers and etc. So any company will require the student to be at the level of dream, like that. You have to be the dream candidate for any industry or corporate you have to get placed, even in the dream corporates. So you have to make yourself to be the dream candidate for any institution or the corporate or the industry. So with this, I would like to share my screen for a couple of important photographs and slides, which will give us the glimpses of the alumni activities which we are doing it in the across the campuses for the overall development of the students, so that the awareness is given in every aspect. So I would like to take a minute for sharing the screen. Ma'am, is my screen visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So here uh, we had the Alumni Association, SRM Engineering Alumni Association, right from the 2000 onwards, which has been converted to the Directorate of Alumni Affairs in 2016, wherein we do many activities with the focus of having the fully connected and motivated, grateful alumni connect community for the mutually beneficial partnerships. And we'd like to have that the alumni engagement as the one of the important pillar for the building the institution towards the various vision of our SRM AST. And we have our alumni spread across all the corporates as listed here in this slide. And also we have very famous alumni, Mr. Ravi Kundru. He's the president and CEO of Fintech in USA, and Bhaskar Babu, who is the CEO of Surya Uday Bank, Mumbai, and so on. And we do have alumni across the different sectors, IFS, IRS, media, cricket, and etc. So to build the overall environment, we do have the objectives and the Directorate of Alumni Affairs activities like SRM Achievers Connect, Internship Fair, Alumni Day, Silver Jubilee reunions for making the pleasant memory come back for our alumni as a entire batch. And we do have the review process for the alumni survey recognitions in terms of alumni awards, providing various opportunities for the faculty through the alumni in terms of internships, FIIP projects, networking on campus and off campus. Nowadays, networking happens in terms of webinars and conclaves of this nature in the online mode, and general information sharing using our websites, portals, newsletters, etc. All these activities are being taken up by our Alumni Affairs Office. And what are the benefits for our alumni? We do have lots of benefits in terms of job providing, networking primarily, and also the mentoring process. We do have very active chapters, more than 83 chapters with the focus of city-based chapters or country-based chapters. Every chapter has its own LinkedIn and WhatsApp groups. The requirement from various alumni who are residing there put the request there, and those who are able to help in terms of the any information or visa processing or any migration of the job in that particular chapters at all ages of the alumni, which is happening in the WhatsApp groups also, so that the networking will be the benefit. So some of the pictures of our SRM Alumni Connect of past years on the offline mode, in the physical mode, are these. Apart from that, we do have social events, Silver Jubilee reunions of 91 batch, 92 batch, MOUs from alumni firms, Alumni Day where we recognize the notable and eminent alumni, 18. We do have a Chennai chapter which has been inaugurated in our Vadapalani campus only, and leadership talks focusing Women Day, Skype talks, internship fair, regular alumni talks across the spread of every faculty of engineering, medical, health sciences, science and humanities, etc. And we continued that in this online mode on such a placement conclaves, and we have lined up totally 7 conclaves of that nature. And we are on this 4th conclave today, and a few more are getting continued for the next week and so on. So with this outset, I would like to thank our management from Vadapalani campus, dean, vice principals, head of the departments for having immediately accepted the concept and then helped us with organizing such a wonderful placement conclave. I am very much grateful for all the support and things which are being done by you, sir and ma'am, and all the people who are directly and indirectly involved in this, especially our phenomenal speakers, champions from electronics and mechanical, and also the alumni who are representing the HR and R&D sector. Thanks once again. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for giving a wonderful head start to the event. Our first speaker for today's event is Mr. Chandrasekharan Vasudevan, Director, 5G Core, Network Applications, and Cloud Infrastructure Digital Services at Ericsson. He is an expert technology executive with over 20 years of global experience and proven track record in driving new technology initiatives, research, and innovation. He is well versed in developing and delivering next generation architectures and products, including advanced technology services for large scale networks and solutions. He specialized in technologies such as 5G, cloud native, IoT, NFV, virtualization, cloud services, smart cities, and many more. He is an Ericsson certified principal solution architect and consultant. As an exceptional leader and mentor, he is known for building and leading high performance teams. I now kindly call upon our speaker to address the gathering. Please, sir.
Yeah, okay. It's always a trick to unmute yourself first. So thank you, Saram, Vadapalani campus, for having me again. I think it's probably the second time in as many weeks of talking to, I think this time we are talking to a different group of students. The last time it was people who are who are planning to enter, and this time it's the batch who are raring to go out and create wonders in the industry. So congratulations to all the graduating students of SRM in this year. So what I will do is in this 10-15 minutes that's allocated to me, I will just give you a glimpse of what's happening with respect to communication engineering, not just in India, but also around the world, and also try to give you an idea of what kind of career options are there. I'm more interested in answering the questions that you might have. So I will probably try to minimize the presentation time and try to answer more questions that you will have. So feel free to put your questions in the chat window, which I believe we will take at the end. Right. So going back, since I guess most of you are children of the digital revolution, so probably you may not have heard this, but then whatever mobile communication that you have today started off initially purely as analog voice long ago, probably before most of you were born. And then, and then we have come a long way. And the service that you are currently using is generally what is known as 4G, also known as LTE. And the one that everybody is already kind of waiting for in India and around the world is what is called as the 5G technology. And as you know, this is happening. This has been already launched around the world. And we already have 5G live in about 138 networks across the world. And more than 15% of population already has access to the 5G network. And that's mainly because 5G is launched in China, and so you see that big population jump there. It's predominantly launched in Korea, Japan, US, and in India, as you know, we have just started, and we have just started the trials. So you would have seen the latest announcements from both Airtel and others that they have actually launched the 5G trial services in India. So this is something that came like 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, and we are currently doing trials with Airtel for 5G in the Gurgaon. So this is already happening. And so what all this means for you? I think that's the fundamental question, right? So basically, when you look at what is happening in 5G, 5G will basically revolutionize the way not just the consumer industry, which is people like you and me. 5G will mainly revolutionize many industries, and some examples of automotive industries, how driverless cars, or cars with augmented reality or real-time monitoring. So a lot of stuff will happen in the automotive sector. Same for entertainment. Gaming and VR will actually get a huge uplift when we actually get the 5G service across. And then smart homes are already there, and they will get better. Then we will also, the most important aspect is how this is going to affect the industries in terms of manufacturing, logistics, and all of this. What all this also means is that this is going to create demand for people who are having experience and skill and expertise which goes across industries. So cross disciplinary programs, like so people who have like a mechanical engineering background and also has communication skills, they would be more sought after in design of automotive. So people who are doing entertainment and media, people who have experience in video, audio, analog, and all of this, they will also have exposure in terms of, okay, how would you expose all this on social media, making this delivery in real time across phones and all that. So when it comes to industry, again, robotics and all of that combined with communication, so that's going to be the key. And we are already seeing a lot of offshoots of this happening now. So basically cross industry skills or cross domain skills is what is going to be of top demand. But there will also be people who are very fundamental communication engineers will also be in great demand as well. As I already said, the IoT revolution is already happening, and that is driving across many different industries. So all these that you are seeing here in terms of either it is smart metering or traffic safety and control or grid automation for electricity distribution, and the most interesting of all, the drone use cases, unmanned vehicles and drones, they have a very huge market space when 5G gets launched, because the bandwidth and the latency that 5G provides will be able to deliver the drone services at acceptable levels. So you will see a huge uptake in these industries going ahead. Of course, all of this would have to mean revenue at the end of the day, because it's only revenues that generate jobs. There has to be, enough money for all these industries to do it, so that those money get translated into the corresponding job opportunities. 5G, of course, the predictions are that it will actually come with huge uptake in terms of the ability for 5G to revolutionize the communication industry as well as other adjoining industries as well. So the revenue potential of all these combined put together runs, as usual, in hundreds of billions of dollars. And you can see the APEC number there, which is almost half of it. And you can conveniently assume that India has a major role to play in these turquoise green bar that is at the top, so which directly will give opportunities for jobs going forward as well. So what kind of opportunities are we looking at? What kind of jobs can you see coming your way? Purely from a core engineering perspective, we see a huge amount of uptake for radio and antenna design. Any skills in radio access technology, like IMO and advanced coding and all of these things, you will have demand in those areas. General network design in terms of both mobile network as well as IP network design and rollout of those in terms of delivering them, configuring them, all of that, and operating all these in from the various network operation centers that either the operators have or companies like Ericsson have, and serving as engineers in those various operation centers. So those kind of opportunities will also go up. We also will have quite a number of opportunities going for integration services as well. Integration services here means, how would you put all this together? Particularly, opportunities will open up on IoT device development. This is a very emerging space. Try to think of everything that you use and everything that you have at home being embedded with the connectivity module. I think we have already seen, fans and ACs and light bulbs, which you can turn on with voice commands now, right? So this will increase. I mean, it is instead of just not turning on and off, you will also be able to do and see a whole lot of stuff in that space. So IoT device development and more advanced access in that, including critical IoT. So far, the critical IoT hasn't happened that much, mainly because of the inability to deliver latency requirements. 5G will change some of those things. So you will see more services that are very latency intensive ones. So those will get absorbed as well. Semiconductor design has always been in demand. This is an area that I think this just keeps growing and growing with every new technology. The growth of this industry also goes higher and higher. The new kids in the block are what is there in the right-hand side of this presentation, which is to do with a lot of virtualization technology. So if you are familiar with OpenStack, Kubernetes, and cloud native functions and all of that, so those type of skill set and opportunities that are associated to that in terms of writing software, if we can write virtualization software. So that's something that will go up in demand. AI and ML has become hygiene factor in almost every industry now. Software defined anything, which is like software defined architecture and implementation, which is software defined networking, software defined storage, software defined data center. So anything to do with all these areas is actually what we see upcoming in the next decade, you can say. I already spoke about network management and network design. AR and VR not purely just as a technology by itself, which itself is very exciting, but also how would you use that in various applications. So if you are doing a user interface for a car on board device, how would you do augmented reality for that? Or if you have a goggle, then how would you do an AR or a VR design for that? So these kind of jobs will actually get much more dominant as well. Industry 4.0, which as I mentioned is to do with the entire automation of factories, robots, and logistics, and all of this. So this is all the core engineering opportunities outside of what the traditional IT and ITES companies do. These are really jobs that require you to apply your engineering skills, what you have learned over the last 4 years of your engineering education. So that's basically what I wanted to cover here, and hope you have questions, and feel free to kind of put them in the chat box, and we will take them at the end. So thank you, SRM Vadapalani, once again for having me here, and I would like to wish all the best to all the graduating students in this session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Students, for any queries, please post your questions in the chat window. Sir, can we take it at the end, or can we ask now, sir?
No, you can take it in the end. It's fine. Okay. If they have any questions which have already come, maybe we can take it. If not, we can take it in the end also. It's also fine. Up to you, as you are moderating the session.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Our next speaker for today's event is Mr. M. Govindarajan, Chief Operating Officer, Plant Head IP Rings Limited. He has a total work experience of 35 years. Some of his awards and achievements include ACMA Quality and Productivity Award, Quality Excellence Award from HIML, Frost & Sullivan IMEA Super Platinum Award for Manufacturing Excellence, Energy Efficient Company Award from CII and Government of India BEE, Best Supplier Award from Dana Corporation. His professional body membership includes ex-Vice Chairman in National Institute of Quality and Reliability, NIQR, ex-committee member in CII, Tamil Nadu Panel on Manufacturing and Technology, Government of Tamil Nadu, ex-chairman, Indian Institute of Foundrymen, National Council member, IIF. We are very grateful to have you here, sir. I now request you to speak a few words.
Yeah. Thank you for the introduction. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Rajaram, Dr. Ratnam, and a lot of VPs and principals are there. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's actually, I'm finding it very difficult to not to face the students and talk. Normally, I used to face the student and talk. I will have an interactive session. So I'm missing that. Just a minute, I'll share my screen first. Am I, this is visible?
Yes, sir.
Sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay. Just a minute. So, well, while introducing me, she was telling the awards I have got. Strictly speaking, it is not the awards for me because I am the head of the organization. So, my organization receives that awards, quality awards and other awards. That is only as a leader I receive it. It is a teamwork which is happening. That's what I want to just tell you. So let me go into the presentation. So, okay. So if you see the transition, in fact, Mr. Chandrasekhar also has touched upon this. His presentation was excellent. So the period, I'm just putting it just before 1990s, and from 1990 to 2020, that is 30 years period, and beyond 2020, that's the future. I'm just keeping it. If you say before 1990, most of you would not have born. Only your fathers and uncles would have been born. In those days, getting a bike or a car, whatever it is, we have to wait. We have to wait for at least 3 months, 6 months, depends on the premiums. And a lot of times, if you want urgently, you have to pay some extra money also. Like a greasing money, it's like that. In fact, I remember when I passed out and joined as a GET, I wanted a scooter, Bajaj Super. You know, I paid the money full and waited for 2 full months. In fact, I wanted Chetak, Bajaj Chetak, but that would take 6 months. I was impatient, so I took Super. Do you see the difference? Now you have showroom by showroom, you can walk in, see the bike, which you like, you can buy. And that is the difference. That is a seller's market now. No, previously it's a seller's market, now it's a buyer's market. It's not only for the vehicles, I'm telling you, even the TVs and other things, whatever is available, it is only a limited thing because the economy was closed. Only people who are having the license to manufacture were able to do. And the price which was dictated is cost plus profit. But nowadays, it is changing. Now tell me, and let me tell you this 1990 to 2020 period, the 30 years is a changeover period. A lot of things changed, a lot of things. In fact, we were in this period only, we saw all the changes. But now you people, that is the latest young kids, you are in the new world, I will say. In this 1990 to 2020, India opened up the global market. In fact, we have to thank Mr. Narasimha Rao, who was instrumental in opening the market. They will say Dr. Manmohan Singh, But the leader who allowed Dr. Manmohan Singh to act is Dr. Narasimha Rao. And many MNCs were started at that period, and all the brands were available, and the prices started coming down. It was a buyer's market. Now let us see where we are going to go into the future. Just a minute. This is a too big a chart. You are able to see? Somebody to confirm?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. See this. If you see, I don't know. What I'm showing is balls that circles are all each companies. Like all, for instance, Toyota is here, Volkswagen, BMW, Daimler, Ford. Our Tata is here, Honda, Hyundai. The size of the ball indicates the revenue. That is the sales. You understand? The size of the ball indicates the revenue. Now, if you take before 1990 and all, these are very, very big companies. Okay, and they are giants. They can decide many things. At this time, there are a lot of companies I will be showing you now. We are not at all there. I'll come to here. These orange balls. This is Intel, Nvidia, all these hardware companies. Hardware companies which are coming up. This data totally is in 2018. Let me put that perspective. This is not in 1990. This revenue background which is given is 2018. Now, these are all, these orange ones are Intel and all, which is for hardware with the design. Now, let me go to the third quadrant. Third quadrant, which is in green color, represents Alibaba, Facebook, Alphabet, Tencent, Amazon. These are all web or digital companies. They don't have a product on their own. They trade. They use only a web platform for business. Now coming to this is mobile and telecom. You see, this is on Apple, Samsung, Xiaomi, Huawei and all. Now let me put it in totally all the four together. This is, you can see here, it is written 2018. This I got it when I went to Germany for Hanover Fair. What they were predicting in 2018 is, see, compared to all this Toyota and all, you see the diameter of other companies, it has grown more than that. If you think just before 1990, they were not there. They were not at all there. Slowly they came up. Now they are more than the core industry. It is growing. And which is going to dominate is the big question now we are having. Because one side, the mechanical industry, that is the Toyota and all there. One side, the hardware industries like Intel and all there. Then comes the web telecom, then mobiles. Now each is slightly coming and overlapping each other. And nowadays the car or the transport electronics are also going on increasing. So which will gobble up the other one, we don't know. But you can see the trend, how is it going on. So this, why I'm telling you, you are going to choose a career path. In this field, whichever field you choose, you should excel. That's the most important thing. Now coming to, this is, next point, 1 minute. Yeah. So the disruptions are happening in the total auto industry. Not only auto industry, in any industry for that matter. Just because I'm associated with the auto industry, I'm able to clearly say that. So already I've talked about the technological disruptions which is taking place. Then regulatory disruption took place. You know, all Europe, US and all, they went gradually from Euro 1, Euro 2, Euro 3, 4, 5 and all. But India made a big jump from BS4 to BS6 last year. So it was a big jump that disrupted even our whole production methodologies, the accuracy levels, everything. Likewise, now the smart cities are coming up. How we are going to cater to that, how it is going to work. And then the emerging competition, that is on shared mobility. See, before 4 or 5 years, nobody would have thought about shared mobility. In fact, we were wondering whether the auto industry will go down because a lot of people don't want to buy a car at all because only once or twice they are using a car. Other time they are working from home. So why do you need the car? They can use the Uber and Olas. So they say the market will go up. Slightly I go back. You can see here in between the Toyota and this Alibaba, you can see here I have shown the Uber. I don't know whether you're able to see that. You're able to see Uber and all these things. This fellow is trying to use the car and use the technology from software and getting the business with no investment, literally. So these are all the disruptions which is happening in the industry. So as a student, you should be well aware of this so that whichever knowledge or the job interests you, you should work, because what interests you will make you work efficiently and effectively. Some of the things for guidance for the freshers is you have to develop your subject knowledge, not just to face the interview. A lot of times when we see mechanical engineers, they are not able to answer simple questions because they would have got good scores and marks, but that is not sufficient. You should be able to understand how an equipment works. For simple thing like a centrifugal pump and a jet pump, we ask a difference. Why do you need two different pumps? When centrifugal pump can work, why do you need a jet pump? People should be able to answer. Because anyway, I don't have an interaction session. I will answer that also. Why can't the centrifugal pump work forever? Why do you need a jet pump? Because centrifugal pump cannot pump beyond 10 meters. Beyond 10 meters, when you suck the water becomes vapor by physics law. So that is why beyond that, what they do, they put a jet pump or a submersible pump inside the tanks and then use the water to push the water up for even 100 meters, any number of height you can push it. So why it is happening? Why centrifugal pump is not working? That physics you should know. An engineer who has a complete knowledge of physics becomes a better engineer. You should understand the logic by which it is working. So please, you have nowadays, not like us, you have a lot of web and all, how it is working, you have live models. Nowadays, you can get videos. So it is easier to do that. You should have a creative mind. Now, time management is one of the important things that nobody should say lack of time for planning or priorities. You should plan it and do it. That is the most important thing in your career. Similarly, the self-discipline on punctuality and respect to the elders and interest in learning is important. Just I will tell you one example. For Maruti car in 1990, we were selling one set of piston rings for 500 rupees. Can you guess how much we will be selling now after nearly 30 years?
Same, sir.
I'm not able to hear you, please. Somebody
Probably
asked.
same, sir.
1,000 rupees are telling?
Sir,
Hello.
same price, sir. Maybe same price now also, sir.
Okay. Let me put it like this. Okay, we sold it 500 rupees. The EB cost at the time was only 1.5 rupees or something. Now it is nearly 8 rupees. The minimum wages at that time for any lowest paid labor is 1,500 rupees. Now it has become 11,000 rupees. And the engineer's salary or my salary, everything has gone 10 times, 20 times more. The oil cost has gone up. You know, the petroleum prices, everything has gone up. So now you tell me, can we sell it at 500 rupees?
No, sir. We'll have to increase.
It should be something like at least 1,000, 1,500.
Yes, sir.
That is not normal human beings. Anybody can think, but Actually, what has happened is we are selling it at 200 rupees. After 30 years, every cost has gone up. The EB cost, the labor cost, the RM cost, the oil cost, everything has gone up. How you are able to do? Still we are making profit. Please understand. This is a competitive world. So how we make profit is we engineers. That is where the engineers come here. We go on improving things. If you are making 500 parts in 1 hour, we try to make that same 500 parts in 10 minutes. How it is possible? How to do that? What is the cycle time? What is the cutting tool? Something like that. Then reducing the scrap, improving the yield. For 10 kg, you get this much. How to reduce the, finally you should get some part. You should not waste the material when you're turning or grinding or whatever it is. Reduce it. These are small things I'm telling you. And one more thing is, always when the volume increases, the overhead always decreases because you have only one COO and one general manager and 4 or 5 engineers and all. But when you do more and more, from instead of lakhs, you do 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs of components, automatically the overhead comes down. So these are the ways by which where we are able to reduce the price and be in the market. Now, if I say I will be selling at 1,500 rupees only, I will not be in the market because there are so many competitors who will gobble me up. Just to give you a perspective what the world is there. Mr. Chandrasekhar also will know that even though they are in IT industry, every year there is a competition within themselves. There are so many IT industries. The service provided for a bank or a retail supply chain, it goes on reducing and they are trying to automate it. They use AI for that, artificial intelligence. So if 10 fellows do that work, they try to automate it and make it computer controlled. Only one man is required for that. So that is the way you increase the productivity. So the next, fear of failure. Fear of failure you should never have because failures are bound to happen. And always that is a stepping stone for success. Take for instance India. See, we developed rockets and satellites. In those days, they used to ask why India should develop rockets and satellites when people are starving for food and all. But do you know, there is a wider perspective. We failed in initial rocket developments and satellites and all. But when any country doesn't have the capability to make their own rockets or satellites, you have to depend on others. When you have to depend on others, the cost is not cost plus profit. It is 10 times cost or 100 times also. For instance, today you can't buy an F-16 or a Rafale. You pay through your nose. What is the cost you think that fighter plate manufacturing will cost? Not more than 100 crores or 200 crores, but we are buying at 2,000 crores. That is the money. So India developed rockets and satellites so that these satellites can be sent on our own. Nowadays, we are sending satellites for other countries also. So this satellite, why it is important? Because that gives the communication. Communication for all your mobiles, everything is through satellites. When we developed this, don't think we developed it in one shot. We had a lot of failures. So say failure is not the thing which will stop you. Just for that, I gave this example. So try and try, you will succeed. Decision making. Dr. Abdul Kalam said, correct decisions can double the confidence and a wrong decision can double the experience. So no need to worry about the situation, continue your efforts. Similarly, about the self-confidence, Tannambike, that is the most important thing. I don't know, I'm overshooting, I'll just finish. The competitive world, the core engineering. Many industries are starving for good mechanical engineers. See, this last 20 years, the good and creamy engineers have gone to other fields, mostly IT field. Now, in the core industry, good mechanical engineers are less. And it's a necessity because all IT and other things are support functions. The base is the equipments and other things which cannot be left out. So good mechanical engineers are required, and I request all the mechanical students to come to mechanical industries because the growth maybe initially it will be slow, but you have an assured life, and the growth is continuous for 30-40 years. Last not but not the least, maintain your health. Health is wealth. So as a students, if you maintain the good health only, you will be good in your knowledge, and your career growth will be good. Finally, எப்பொருள் யார் யார் வாய் கேட்பினும் அப்பொருள் மெய்ப்பொருள் காண்பதறிவு. Even if you whatever you hear from me also, you think and find out whether what I'm saying is right. Thank you, and my best wishes to all the students in your career. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. A dream becomes a goal when action is taken towards its achievement. On this note, I'd like to call our next speaker and our alumni from the batch 2009 to 13, Mr. A. Praveen Kumar, Deputy Manager, Research and Development, TVS Motor Company, Chennai. Mr. A. Praveen Kumar did his BTech in Mechanical Engineering from SRM University Vadapalani campus and completed his MTech degree in Automotive Engineering from VIT and ARAI collaborative course. He is presently working as Deputy Manager in Fuel Injection Calibration Development and Research Center of TVS Motor Company. It's an honor to have you here, sir.
Thank you. Able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, all. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful event. And rightly, Mr. Chandrasekharan and Govindrajan sir, both of them had put a good like start of this event. What they said was all correct, and I am in the industry, and I am able to relate it to what they are telling. And likewise, I was also similar to you guys. Just a few years back, maybe around 8 years back, I was in the same position, searching for a job and all. And today I would like to give some inputs to you so that you can face the real world. Let me open my presentation. Actually, I work in Hosur, not in Chennai. Yeah, a short introduction about myself. I did my mechanical engineering from SRM VDP and completed my automotive engineering masters from VIT and ARA collaborative course. Got selected and joined TVS Motor Company as PGET in 2015. For the past 6 and odd years, I'm working in TVS Motor Company in fuel injection and calibration development in TVS Motor R&D at Hosur. Yeah. This is the spectrum of mechanical engineering career in core industries. You have research, you have development, you have design, testing and evaluation of the products that research development team developed. Then manufacturing is there. Operations is like functioning of factories. Okay. Then quality control, which is very important. Then maintenance, that is a stream. Marketing, sales, and service. There also engineers are required. All technical jobs. Then sourcing. Sourcing is for a need for a company. Parts will be required. Say for our automobile company, there will be multiple parts that is required, and there is a team which sources, and those people are all engineers. Technical management is there, and administrative. Skills and aptitude expected currently in core industries, as far as I have seen, strong interpersonal skills is required, because here mostly in mechanical core there will be a lot of interactions. You will get a job done through strong interpersonal skills than by asking someone to do that. Then you need to have rigor in the execution. Then technical problem analysis should be there. Your skills should be there to solve technical problems. Creativity and innovation should be there. You should be able to translate ideas to reality, and you need to make decision that not only decision, but it has to be fast and accurate. Teamwork, that is important. You need to have self-discipline, and you need to be self-driven, because no one will come and ask you to do something. You will have to what to say, like you have to be self-driven and do work. Yeah, recent trends, as Mr. Chandrasekharan and Govindrajan sir said, there is a fusion of different domains, cross engineering, that is happening in all industries, and we need to be we need to adapt for all the situations, because, like Darwin had said, the adaptable species is what will survive, and not the other way around. So we need to be adaptive. So there are like penetration of electronics, kind of mechatronics in all industries. Like in automotive industries, it is much more. Automation, IoT is there, data analytics, and software coding. These are the recent trends in core engineering. I'm saying mechanical core. And these are the skills that will be useful for adapting in the industry. You need to know at least one coding language, either let it be MATLAB or Python, some coding language you should be knowing. Basic electronics is a must, and some small level PCB programming. For starters, it can be Arduino. And thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was refreshing. Success is achieved and maintained by those who try and keep trying. On this note, I call upon our last speaker of this evening and our alumni from the batch 2019 to 30, Mr. Ravikiran Lakshmanan, Senior Associate Lead HR Compliance, Infosys, Bengaluru. Mr. Ravikiran Lakshmanan completed his BTech in SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Vadapalani campus. He pursued his MBA in Christ University, Bangalore. He has worked in TCS as an HR business partner, in Daimler India commercial vehicles as an HR business partner, and now currently working in Infosys as a Senior Associate Lead HR Compliance. It's an honor to have you here, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Lalita, for that very good introduction. And yeah, so I am over here. So this session is something which I can relate to because I had been at both the sides of the table. For the year of 2015, 16, 17, 3 years, I was a recruiter at SRM University and doing the same campus recruitment. So I can relate to both the sides of the table as an interviewee and an interviewer. So I think it's sometimes a disadvantage as well as an advantage being the last speaker. And since we have all been discussing, I think, very good presentation from the industry stalwarts like Govindarajan sir or Chandrasekharan sir or my fellow buddy Praveen, let's play some game. A simple game which is easily relatable for all of us. Yes. Even though we from India call hockey as a national game, we still go to the playing of cricket. So if these three stumps are your core placements, how do you hit them? How do you stump them? How do you take the wicket? The easiest answer will be the ball, which we as students. But what is it required for the right wicket? It's preparation. What do you prepare? So, okay, so this session, whatever the examples I'm going to quote are real-time examples which are being faced. So let me put the disclaimer and this all happened. So what do we prepare while we are going for the placements? So the first thing what happens is we get panic during the day of placements. So I would suggest a day prior to your placements, keep everything ready for the placements. When I mean keep everything ready, take your resume printout, keep it in a stick file, prepare your dresses, prepare whatever is required for the next day placements and be prepared. There is a quote which I reiterate, the first impression is always a best impression. One of my interview So the ideal student has brought his resume like this. If you can see me, with the resume folded into 8 or 10 folds and kept it in his top pocket. What does this impression create on a person? And then the person, if he's after lunch break, just his resume will say what he has had for the lunch. Because during the lunch break is what we take a printout, we keep it on top of our pocket, have our lunch, come to the placements. So don't do all these mistakes. So start preparing your resume and prepare your own resume and then keep a printout of it. Please do not copy from your friends because your resume speaks of what you know. When I say your resume speaks of what you know, that's a second point, awareness. So what do you mean by awareness? There are two kinds of awareness which I would relate to. One is awareness of the market, which the speakers earlier presented, and second is a self-awareness. When you mean awareness of the market, so one of the interview, when I asked a person, a mechanical engineer, of what is the current trend in the industry, and he told me, sir, it's V12 engine. I was shocked and I was happy. And I asked him, what is it, V12 engine? That's when he told, sir, V12 engine is nothing, engine with 12 cylinders. That comes your self-awareness. Know what is a subject you know before you answer in the interview. If you don't know something, it is easy to say, yes, I do not know. And as interviewers, we don't expect you to be a know-all. Be strong in what you know clearly. If you're going for an interview and the interviewer asks you about, say the same example about engines, you can directly say the interviewer, sir, I'm not comfortable in engine. My core strength is fluid dynamics. Or if you're an ECE student and if they question you asking, can you explain how a microwave antenna works? And you can say back, sir, antenna is not the subject of my interest. My interest is on embedded design. And you can talk about round robin methods. So be aware of what you know and be aware of what is happening in the market. Like Chandrasekharan sir told, if you are an ECE student, research about IoT, what is a trend? Or if you are a mechanical student, research about what is autonomous vehicle, what is happening in the market, and how does it work? Maybe the new Benz C-Class, you can talk about over there, and you can say, how does it work? And all this comes with the awareness. The third point is your core strength. What happens in your core strength? So, as we told, interviewer does not expect you to come with extensive knowledge on any of the topics. Even the basics work, but the basics is important. When I mean basics, so when we ask the simplest question of what is the difference between a microprocessor and a microcontroller, or the other question will be, what is a step up and step down transformer? And a person explains, sir, step up transformer is a big transformer outside house, sir. Step down transformer is a small transformer inside house, sir. How does it matter? This proves you're not strong in your core. When we ask the basic question of how does a resistor work, what is a RLC circuit, these are all the basics we expect you to know. And when we mean basics, we see that how much you are strong on your core strength. And the final one I would say is experience. You might be amused. What do I talk about experience? I'm a fresher coming directly from college. You gain several experiences where one is your internship, you can do live projects, you can do mini projects, and whatever you do on the lab, your practical experiences. Why do we say that? One beautiful or the best student I have experienced in an interview is again from an SRM. So I was part of this IT company where we do the engineering services as well. And due to certain cutoff, the person was not eligible for an engineering placement, and he was sitting place of IT placement. And we asked him to write the Java coding, the C++. He was not comfortable and he didn't know. And when we were almost in the verge of saying, okay, he will not be a fitment or a right fitment for our company, he explained his project. He was part of the Baja team, which has represented SRM in the Baja Fest. And he took his project, literally explained how he had designed a whole car. And that's the time I moved him, even though he was not eligible for engineering. I moved him from an IT job to an engineering job within my same company. So your experiences speaks a lot. the practical experiences, the practical coding, or the practical what you do in your labs, what you do as part of your project, that speaks a lot. And be strong in that, and be vocal in that, and be aware of it, because that is your project and not the subject which you learn. So when you have a right pace with this combination, you will be able to take the stamps. Thank you, for the team, for this session.
Thanks a lot, sir. It was wonderful. Now the forum is open for discussion, and if participants, if you guys have any questions, kindly post them in the chat window, guys. Participants are welcome to post the questions in the chat box.
Yeah, by the time we receive the questions from the other participants, we have a few questions already been asked by few of our classmates. So the first question is to Mr. Chandrasekharan, sir. What do you think should be the key skills to be able to sustain a long career in telecom sector, especially with 5G integrating several domains under its wing?
Good question. A long career in telecoms domain, as I said, the lines are blurring. Okay. So basically, as Mr. Govindarajan was showing, there is a consolidation of sorts that's happening across the industries in a way. So when you ask the question, I mean that you want to be a communication engineer for a long time. So if I were to take that thread of thought, then it should be your foundations, basically. I mean, it's like you have to be very strong in, basic signal processing skills. And you should be able to really catch up with the development that continuously happen in the industry. So what you have learned in the 4 years and what you will see in the industry once you get there would be very different. So the initial learning curve would be steep. And after that as well, to be continuously relevant in the industry, never stop learning, because you have to keep learning. And this industry, kind of reinvents itself every 5 years. So the key to a long career in comms industry is be a student always.
Mr. Chandrasekharan, it's a good answer. Just I want to add, Apple is a communication equipment, but last week they are unveiling a car, Apple car. Have you seen it? I don't know. See, a communication man with mobile maker now slowly coming to car making. It's phenomenal. Change is happening. Please proceed.
So the next question is to you only, sir, Govindarajan, sir.
Yeah.
What are the skill sets in terms of programming languages normally required for core engineering jobs? Like, roughly how much programming do they expect? And
strictly speaking, for the core engineering, we don't need programmings. Only for the design engineers, we need it. The design people, they need CAD, CAM, and other things. Otherwise, all other things you can learn it in the industry itself. Don't worry about that. Because each industry has its own specialities. So we will teach them. What we want is a bright engineer who is ready to learn. Like Mr. Ravi Kiran said, whatever you know, you should know better. Whatever project you have done, you should know better. If you have done it sincerely, you know that this fellow will be able to do. You take one project and have you done it thoroughly for your level of knowledge. That is enough. We don't want NASA scientists, but at least you should go in depth in whatever you're doing. If you do that, you become a good candidate. If you are a good candidate, we will teach you. Don't worry about that. Industry, when you enter, what you know, including me, don't worry about what I'm telling you. When I entered the industry also, we know only 2 or 3% of what the industry needs. But what we learn from the college is only basics, analytical knowledge, the logics All this we learn. So our brain is tuned for that. That is enough. Then we'll constantly learn and we'll improve. That's it.
I think
We actually have.
Radhika, can you just read it?
Yeah, actually, we have a common question here in the chat box. A couple of students have asked, I am an EC student. How should I manage both software and hardware in my department for better improvement of skills? A couple of students have asked this question. It's a common question, sir.
Yeah, this is always a classic question. You want to be a hardware engineer or you want to be a software engineer, right? So this is always the case. I think fundamentally, the one doesn't exist without the other. Okay, you can't really just do hardware and you can't really just do software alone, right? The key here is you need to know what is your passion, actually. I mean, whether you are the person who actually likes the hardware part of the story better, or you are a person who likes the software part of the story better. From a job career perspective, both of them, in my opinion, have equal weightage, because we need as many hardware engineers as we do, software engineers, at least from a core engineering point of view. Okay. If you are talking about, going to IT companies and writing banking software, then of course you are, better off with, having software skills. But if you are looking at a career as a core engineer, then I would place equal weightage on, either you being a hardware engineer or the software engineer. But the most important thing is, what are you passionate about? Or as Mr. Govindarajan and Ravi Kiran said, you need to know what you know clearly. That's what will, speak at the end of the day.
And we have another question in the chat box by a student. How to create a valuable resume as a fresher?
I think we can post it to Ravi Kiran.
Yeah, I think that would bring the relevancy over here. So, okay, so as a fresher, when you look at it, if I'm not wrong, SRM would have almost 10,000 to 20,000 students. And how do you differentiate from others matters. As I explained, that's what speaks about your project. While all of you are from an EC or a MEC batch, what you have done different from others makes it valuable for that. And if you have done any additional learning as a certification, because most of us are passionate about something. So as a mechanical engineer, you would have attended an AutoCAD course, or you would have done a CATIA or a SolidWorks course outside, or you would have done your projects which would have involved all the skills. Maybe that's what gives the impression. And today, I think the market speaks about digital resume and a single page resume. What is that differentiator in your resume? That's what matters. So that, I think that explains it.
Mr. Ravi, you answered it well. Shall I add one point?
Yeah, please, sir.
You are told what to do. I will say what not to do in the resume. In the resume, don't put what all jargons don't put that. A lot of times the students get caught in that. Whatever they hear, TPM, TQM, something they write. Because they think the jargons will, because when you write a jargon, we will expect you to know something on that. You write a short resume, whatever you know, that is most important. That is enough. A lot of them say when we interview, a lot of fellows are getting caught because they simply copy from somebody else and writes. And he doesn't know that. That's enough. Not to do.
I think there is another question. Any suggestions for core mechanical designers? That is the question.
Yeah, I think I can answer that.
Yeah, okay.
So please go ahead.
No, for core mechanical, if you want to design, generally we expect a master's degree. That is one. Then we expect some CAD/CAM knowledge and all. So that basics, if it is there, it is easier for them to be in a core industry, because that is the basics. Something like tools you can have. Then automatically you will learn the main core only in the company. But these things will help you. That's what I will say. Mr. Ravi or Chandrasekhar?
Yeah, right. As Sir told, you need to have very strong basic knowledge, like strength of materials, because design in mechanical is basically all fluid mechanics, strength of materials, everything comes into play. So you have to be very strong in your core. Yeah.
There is a next question. Majority of mechanical and electronic engineering students are placed in IT related job. So how can we overcome this? Like how can they get placed more in core, and how long will this situation prevail?
So
Okay,
I
I can.
You can answer, but
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, you are from HR, so you should know better.
No. See, if you want instant gratification, go to IT because initial salaries will be high. I'm talking in a non-partisan thing, please. The Chandrasekhar, don't mistake me. IT industry will give you initial salary very high. Core industry will not give. First, initial for 15 years, you will grow like anything. After that, you'll be slightly stunting unless you have some special skills. Then, at the age of 40, a 22-year fellow will also compete with you because it's only a software and other things. Please understand that. Whereas in a core industry, over the years only you gather a lot of knowledge, which can't be, which is not taught in anywhere. So what happens is after 15, 20 years, the respect and the salaries, all this will go up. So this is one give and take. If you want instant gratification, more and more salaries initially, and go around the world, please go to IT industry. If you want slowly and go to a better level, even there are exceptions even in that. I'm not denying that even in IT industry, people go up later. That is minority compared to here. I don't know whether I'm right, Mr. Chandrasekhar, you can add.
Okay, and first of all, just a bit of a clarification. I'm also representing the core industry here. I'm not really representing the IT industry.
Okay.
The only difference is that I just represent a different branch of engineering. I just represent the communication engineering and not the traditional IT companies as as you know. That's fine. But but then it is. I mean, I think you have explained it very well. I mean, it like IT, the IT as we know it, right, has different charms of itself. But it's like the growth is one of the things. I wouldn't want to comment on the entry level pay packages and all that. I think that scene is also changing quite a lot actually. So see, there is one thing. You need to have a passion for being an engineer. That is the important aspect of it. If you are doing this just for pay package, then I think you can do any job, right? So core engineering demands you to have a passion for what you are doing. Only then you will be able to, be truthful to what you're doing and at the same time progress in that career as well. So just be aware of it. Be passionate about what you want to do. That's what drives at the end of the day.
Sorry, if I can add to it, maybe I'm the IT guy who is the person who can add. So for all those who thinks IT makes only softwares, just for the numbers, I used to hire minimum 400 core engineers in every quarter who are experienced. And for all those who are, for all your freshers, something you need to know is one of the major automobile manufacturers, the whole end-to-end car design is done by IT. I can proudly say that. And once you sit on a car, you think, for example, let's take a Volkswagen car, which you're driving today. You might think Volkswagen has produced every single part of it. When you touch their infotainment, you need to know that's an IT engineer who has designed it. And when you look at the smart cars today, as Gondrajan sir rightly said, Apple is producing their own cars. And I explained about BMW C-Class, which is a new car which has its own power braking system. And it does based on sensors. And those sensors come from one of our IT industries. So for core people also, there are IT jobs. because we are now relating the sensors, taking their data, analyzing it in terms of machine learning or artificial intelligence, and we are developing softwares like ThinkWorks, which works and which makes things better, like your IoT and all those concepts. So why do a core engineer is required in an IT industry? Because when I say it's a power breaking, and normal software engineer will not understand. Or when I say you need to take a sensor, a diode, input from a diode, a core CSE guy will not understand what is a diode and what is a binary output comes from a diode. And he won't understand what diode to be used over there. And that's why IT also requires core engineering. So now the IT, I think 20 years, what they were producing earlier softwares, now we are moving into everything. And I think core engineers also has places where you can do your CAE, CFD in IT companies. And I can assure for that.
So the next question, following the IT versus the core domain discussion, we have another question from a student here. A designer should learn any programming language while facing an interview or getting a job. So this is the question. Does a designer require the programming language skill?
Can I answer?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah. Designer need not learn any programming language just for the sake of interview, but for a longer run, right? See, I was also having little like core mechanical engineers will have kind of what to say, computer science. Everything will be a different subject for them. Okay, but we need to learn it so that we can practically use it in industries. Because I use it day in and day out, but learn it for not for interview, but for your long run. It will be very useful. Doing things faster, it will be useful for that. Yeah.
In fact, I would say in many of the industries, for the programming people, only the core people will be able to give what is the flow. Only they know. So the final user will be the core people. So you will learn automatically some of the programming. Programming means I will say what is required, what is the MAS required in the front end, what do you need. All that needs to be given by the user. Finally, the programmer programs it so that you get the data.
I think there is one question addressed to our Dean, sir.
Good.
Rapid growth and need for electric vehicles. How should an individual interested in this field equip him or her to be a part of this industry?
Thank you for directing at least one question to me. Happy to answer to this. Electrical vehicle, actually automotive industry is the evergreen industry wherein all mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, electronic engineers always find a lot of scope. This EV, electrical vehicle, is a recent development taking place in the automotive industry. Considering the need of use of alternative fuels, that is renewable energy, alternative to the fossil fuels, because fossil fuels are getting depleted every day, and the need of reduction of transport's impact on climate change and other environmental issues. EV is using, of course, little fuel or no fuel at all. So the engineers who are already involved in automotive industry have additional scopes now. So they need to learn, or they need to have the knowledge on replacing the IC engines by the electrical motors. They need to have knowledge on the transmission system. They need to have knowledge on trapping the required energy from the renewable source like solar energy. And they should have knowledge on storing the electrical energy. Of course, this EV is having only 22% share in the global market, but by 2030, everybody is expecting to have 30% in the global share. So a lot of scope is there in the electrical vehicle field. The students need not worry about whether the mechanical engineers will lose a job. They will have the additional jobs because of the introduction of or because of replacement of IC engine by the electrical motor. There are other what to say, the other requirements will be there for the mechanical, electrical and electronics students. So more scope and opportunities are there for mechanical and automobile industry students. Okay.
So thank you, sir. Next, we have a question for Ratnam, sir, Director of Alumni Affairs. So the question goes, when bridging between the degree and working in a core company, what are the different hurdles a student usually faces? So this is the question, sir.
The migration is the one which is being always self-developed from the individual person. There is no very strict rules and regulation that this is how it has to happen. So it is much based on the self-awareness from the student and knowing the job role, general awareness, getting all the profiles, the skill sets which are required, where to look in for such skill sets, and where to get connected, whom to contact, where to focus, all such things. The self-development makes the major role in migrating from the studentship to the final career, and also proactively looking into the next 5 years and 10 years, looking into the direction of the company where he is or she is there, and also suiting them. And as our speakers have said, being the lifelong learner, the self-learning and lifelong learning is the only key solution.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Our next question is to our VP ma'am, Dr. C. Gomati. When bridging between the degree and working in a core company, what are the hurdles will anyone usually face?
Yeah, thank you, Lalita. So again, I was coming last to speak, and already many of my, the experts as well as the alumni have spoken on this. So talking about both software as well as the core companies, we have heard a lot. And as rightly said by my own student, Ravi Kiran, really he has actually kicked the ball out of the stump with just a single ball. And he could just have 4 different throws. Really, I think that those 4 words of Ravi Kiran will surely be in your mind, how the students are to prepare themselves with, he actually gave 4 main words, which is nothing but the preparedness, awareness, and then core skills and experience. He clearly spoke on what would be the main role of every one of that. So adding to that, I would say in order to, I once find that having a good knowledge in all these kinds of core engineering stream, it shouldn't be a hurdle for you, for any one of you. Possessing the basic technical skills and also the willingness to learn new ideas and techniques with a positive attitude. And you, when you're trying to align yourself with the organizational goals, with the proper ethics and professional skills, I find that it shouldn't be a hurdle. At same time, the core engineers, as we are talking today about the mechanical engineers and electronic engineers, they also have to, along with possessing the basic technical skills, they also have to have the knowledge beyond the textbooks. As we see that now that they also have to update with the latest in the technology. It is not that always enough if you're just being bookish and know only what is being taught in the classroom or something. You also have to keep yourself updated with the latest technology, as rightly said by our Govindarajan sir. Today, everyone came to, it came to the limelight that even Apple is producing a car. Right. So one of the latest technology we are able to, we have to keep ourselves updated in such latest technologies. And once we happened to listen to one of the stalwarts in education, Professor Sadiq, and he actually addressed our students, and he told that as an engineer or as a, whoever, whether you are going for a core job or any other job also, an engineer should know something about everything. This was a quote which was actually been told by him, like you cannot afford to say no at any stage. I don't know about this thing or something. You have to know at least something about everything. If you're able to crack on all these things, I feel that it shouldn't be a hurdle for any of the core engineering student. Thank you.
Good, madam. Shall I add only one point?
Yes, sir. Sure. Yes, sir.
What is the job of an engineer? Actually, it's a core question. In fact, if you ask, the basic is to help people to reduce their effort. That's all. You know, the greatest invention they say is the wheel. The wheel was invented. That's the greatest invention, because by that, the human beings were able to move materials easily with less effort compared to previously. Previously, they used to carry it. Similarly, they are able to transport themselves faster. So this is the basic core aim of an engineer. The engineer in any field, wherever he works, is an IT or a core industry, they have to make the life easier for general public. Then they become a successful engineer. That's all. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Sir, did someone want to add anything?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Also, sorry, sir. We have our director career center with us right from the beginning. I could not notice. Thanks for joining us, sir, and then encouraging us, Dr. Venkat, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. I'm enlightened today. I've been hearing to the industry experts as well as our own alumnus and the academic community trying to deal with the latest and the most bothering point for for all the parents and the final year students who are trying to get into the placement cycle. Hopefully, I'll do justice to them with all the inputs you are given. I'm really grateful to you for helping me out. This is actually value adding our students, so that when I interact with them now, I'll see them going to different destinations across the world. I'm really happy that the inputs you have given will definitely help them to take up those journey. Thank you so much, and this is really enlightening. That the first time I'm hearing to all of them. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your presence.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is for Rajaraman, sir, Mechanical Department HOD. So the question goes, due to automation, the manpower requirements in core industry is decreasing. Then what is the job scenario like in core industries?
Is it audible?
Yeah, audible, sir.
Yes, sir. The automation is mainly done to increase the accuracy as well as to produce the parts at a faster rate. Okay. See, automation requires a lot of core engineers. For example, for manufacturing the parts in computer numerical control machine, that is CNC, we need to program. Okay, that programming is done only by the core engineer. So like that. So nowadays, the CNC program, we are not going to do is just we have to put the AutoCAD model of your part. So that from that part, the machine itself is going to take the profile and it has to write the program on its own. Therefore, in order to manufacture a part, we have to do only the modeling of the particular part. So like that, suppose we are person is familiar in the AutoCAD, so definitely he may be placed in core industries. So like that, lot of allied jobs are there. For example, for automation, we need a fleet power control and hydraulics, etc. In that area, the students may placed. So automation is not going to decrease the job, but definitely it has to increase the job and also increase the accuracy and also decrease the rejection rate. Therefore, we may not afraid of because of automation, the job is going to decrease or the students are not getting opportunity to get the job in core industries. So a lot of opportunities are there due to automation. Just I am telling only few samples. So for example, if a student is familiar in any one of the application software, CFD, ANSYS, like that, definitely he may be easily recruited by the industries. So like that, we may say a lot of examples. So the automation is not going to decrease the job opportunity. Definitely it is going to increase the job opportunity. At the same time, it has to increase the accuracy as well as the rejection, decreases the rejection rate. Okay. So I think we may say a lot of example for this. Okay, thank you.
I think this will be the last question for the evening. It is to our HOD ma'am, Dr. A. Shirley Edwards. Which subfields of electronics and communication engineering undergo the fastest change in industry?
Yeah, Lalita. If we see the fastest growth in ECE field, it is, as Chandrasekharan sir told, it is 5G, that is telecom sector. And if telecom sector is going to, that is the 5G is going to evolve, that is we are all going to get connected using 5G, then by that way, Internet of Things. So Internet of Things is fully possible. And if Internet of Things is fully possible, then we require a lot of ICs here and there for making it possible. So by that way, semiconductor industry is also, these are the three related subfields which has a wide scope nowadays. And our Indian government also has planned to invest on semiconductor industry. That is, we say in your terms, it is VLSI design, very large scale integrated design. So the semiconductor industry is also going to boom in India. So, you had heard a lot about the 5G opportunities from Chandrasekharan sir, I think. And if 5G comes into, is fully done, then Industry 4.0, smart, all smart devices, smart home, everything is going to become smart. Okay, that is the field that is going to evolve. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. It has been a wonderful evening indeed, but we've come to the end of the event. So leader is the one who knows the way, who goes the way and shows the way. I now request Dr. A. Shirley Edward, Head of the Department, Electronics and Engineering, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Radhika. Can you hear me? Yeah, thanks,
Yes,
Radhika. Yeah, I feel glad here to propose the vote of thanks for this online placement conclave on career aspects in core engineering. At the outset, this conclave acted as an eye-opener for the final year ECE and mechanical engineering students for their placements in the core companies. I hope the students would have greatly benefited out of this conclave. On behalf of our SRM IST Vadapalani campus and Directorate of Alumni Affairs, I would like to thank our industry speaker, Mr. Chandrasekharan Vasudevan, who is the Director, 5G Core Network Applications in Ericsson India, for giving wonderful insights on what are the job opportunities available in the telecom sector and also different core engineering opportunities in electronics and communication engineering. Thank you, sir. I also would like to extend my thanks to our expert, Mr. M. Govindarajan, Chief Operating Officer, IP Rigs Limited, for guiding our students towards opportunities and practical aspects in mechanical engineering. And thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. My special thanks to our alumni of 2009-13 batch, Mr. Praveen Kumar, Deputy Manager, Research and Development in TVS Motors Chennai, and our alumni, Mr. Ravikiran Lakshmanan, Senior Associate Lead, HR Compliance, Infosys, Bangalore. Actually, your speech was thought-provoking for the students. Finally, I would like to thank our alumni director, Mr. Dr. A. Ratnam sir, for initiating this conclave and sharing the expectation of current present final year students and also the placement scenario and all alumni details in activities in detail for the students. Thank you, sir. And I thank our Dean sir for his constant support in organizing this event. And I would also like to thank our Director, Career Center, Dr. Venkata Sastry sir, for joining this event and given his thoughts for the event. And also, I would like to thank our VP Academics, Madam Dr. C. Gomati, for guiding us for organizing this event. I would like to thank other department HODs, vice principals for joining this event. And finally, I would like to thank all our final year students for joining this event. And also, I hope you would have benefited a lot out of it. I hope all would have gained a lot in this conclave. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. We feel, yes, sir. Thanks a lot, ma'am. We feel really privileged to have given this opportunity. So I now request the participants to kindly turn on their videos for a photograph.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all of you for joining this
Vana,
session.
Vana.
And,
Thank you,
giving
sir,
us-
for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shall we stop recording?
Yes,
Dinagar,
ma'am.
stop record.
Dinagar, sir?
Dinagar?
I
Yes.
think we can.
Stop record.
Thanks, Lalita and Radhika. You had done a good job.